What's going on, my Flyby family? It's your boy Izzy. Welcome if you're new. So a couple things I want to cover in this video, man. Jonquel hit the pivot and spoke about the Caitlin Clark fans, the money situation in the WNBA, and how players have to go overseas to make more money. And also, it's an interview out there with Nneka, speaking on the WNBA and how they're standing on politics and how they're calling out racism and stuff like that. I wanted to talk about all of that in this video, and we're about to get into it. But before we do that, y'all make sure y'all hit the thumbs up for your boy if you like the content, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We are trying to hit 16.7 by the end of the day, so if y'all can help me out with that, I highly appreciate it. And don't forget to get in the comment section and let me know what y'all think about this. Let's get it.
You know, speaking of relationships, Alyssa Thomas, one of the best hoopers in all of the WNBA, I mean, does absolutely everything. During the playoffs, she spoke out and condemned racism. They're playing, and obviously the Fever fans were being the Fever fans.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that she was willing, in front of the press and the media, to condemn racism. And she said, and now it's on the officials. I've told you what it is. Have you ever had any encounters with things like that since you've been in the WNBA?
No, never.
I do want to stop it real quick because I want to speak on what Ryan Clark said there. I like Ryan Clark, very knowledgeable about football, and he's a very modest dude. So when he's saying Fever fans being Fever fans, you can kind of take that as a negative annotation, right? It's like, what do you really mean Fever fans being Fever fans? Now, he could be saying, you know, Fever fans being Fever fans as they're being fans of the Fever team. But I don't think people are going to take it that way. So like I said with Ryan Clark, I mean, I like him, but I think he misstepped right here.
A lot of the fans, like the Caitlin Clark fans, I think they wanted to latch on to Caitlin Clark and then use her as, like, I guess, like this fuel to be able to be the way that they wanted to be, you know? And I think that's why there was such big backlash when she liked the whole Taylor Swift post saying, like, vote for Kamala Harris, because they want her to be the representation of their racism and you know, like their view on the world, and she's not like that. And I think you have to be careful when you say like the Fever fans, because I don't think it's the Fever fans. I think it's the people that wanted Caitlin Clark to be a certain type of way, and they thought that she was, and so they became Caitlin Clark fans, assuming that, and then they realized like, oh no, she's actually not racist. And so now they have to kind of like backtrack and try to find somebody else that can kind of embody the things that they feel. But yeah, no player should have to deal with that. No player should be in any type of situation where they feel like, you know, their life is in danger, or that someone wants to harm them because of the color of their skin, or harm them in general. So it's crazy that they had to deal with that. And I hope that the WNBA gets it in order and make sure that they have like things in place, because yeah, no one wants to play in a situation like that. I don't think it's fair to the players.
I felt like she was close to what was needed to be said by a black WNBA player. It's not Caitlin Clark fans. She was close. She said, you know, she don't think, you got to be careful saying that it's Fever fans. She don't necessarily think it's Fever fans. Now, one thing I do agree with what she said was nobody in the WNBA should feel in danger for their lives or feel like they're going to be harmed just by the color of their skin. And when I remember what happened in the season, Caitlin Clark was on the court getting bullied, getting hit, getting poked in the eye, all kind of stuff, right? So when she says this, I would like to think that she's talking about everybody in the WNBA and not just black players, because we've seen what happened on the court. We've seen what was said on Twitter. We've seen these things. If Jonquel feel this way, why did nobody else speak out against what was going on with Caitlin Clark? The Caitlin Clark fans that I talk to really know basketball. They show love to other players within the WNBA, and they call out the facts. They call out the facts. They keep it real, man. Now, she had another part of the interview where she was speaking on money, and I want to play that for you guys.
Obviously, I still play overseas, and I still make way more money overseas than I do in the WNBA or with my marketing. If that was combined, I still make way more money. So what I want it to be, even if it's not for me, it would be cool if it was for me, but Like when I leave the league, I want players to be able to not have to go overseas and be able to make that type of money here, in the U.S. with their families and loved ones. So, yeah.
Out of the WNBA players, I feel like Jonquel has the right head on her shoulders out of most of the black WNBA players that's been speaking about the money. See, Jonquel's ideology lines up with mine when it comes to, I want them to make the money. I want them to be successful. The part where Jonquel's ideology lines up with mine is when she's speaking on, if it's not for her, then she definitely want it for the future. And that's what a lot of the players need to realize. Stop trying to make it about you right now. You haven't earned it. You haven't did the work. You haven't did the footwork to get that type of money. You are a younger league than the NBA, okay? It's going to take you some time to get to that point in life. You might not ever see that type of money during your career, but let's work in the direction to where the future could possibly see this money. And the way that they all are behaving and acting entitled, it's not going to work that way.
You mentioned several times in our conversation how the WNBA, everybody knows what it stands for in terms of how the players are politically and socially engaged. That's just in the fabric and the DNA of the players. A third of the players in the league are identified as LGBTQ+. You have a league that is almost 80% of black women. With that being the case, as the popularity of the WNBA is ascending to a different level, how concerned are you that the league will still maintain that DNA of activism, of speaking out and outspokenness as more people get invested in what this league is?
Sure. I mean, to be honest, I've never really felt concerned about that, only because I know our players. I know the players are not going to just fall for anything. And I think that as long as that's not recognized collectively and from the league, then incidents like this week are just going to continue to happen. And ultimately, that's not something that looks good. That's not something that feels good. That's not something that fosters an environment where players really want to be represented and represent themselves. So I can only believe that we have to move forward from this. I know that the players always do. I know that the players are always going to speak up. I know that the union is always going to represent our best interests. And I have faith that the league will too. And I think that you have to experience instances like Kathy's interview and the response from that interview and the response from the players for us to really look and reflect and think about, hey, this is what needs to move forward. And concerning ourselves with league investment when it comes to standing on top of our values is going to be an issue, because if we're worried about the dollars, then the integrity of this league, it can fall just as fast as it got built. I'm very strong. I'm an advocate for the sustainability and the integrity of what you stand on. And we got here, we got through 2016, we got through 2020 to be in 2024. And I think that that's the only way that we can continue to move forward. And the right people are going to be the right people that'll stand with us.
Honestly, I feel like the league has no integrity at all. We've seen the nonsense that happened all season. We saw it. You know, she was saying she's big on keeping the integrity of what you stand on. And my thing is, Dejanay Carrollton clearly wanted Caitlin Clark to speak out against racism and misogyny and all this other stuff that was supposedly going on. But Nneka, why didn't you hold her accountable to the things that she was saying if she don't like racism, if she don't like misogyny, and all the other things she was saying she don't like? Now, you are the head chief of the union that you all created. I like you as a hooper, as a person. I think you are very intelligent. If you really are about holding people accountable and keeping the integrity what it is, you will call out some of your coworkers. Honestly, you all started to look like the very person that you all despise, and that's a racist. And then the host is speaking like they should keep this DNA that was being displayed all season. And honestly, I think they need to switch it up. You have to put skin color aside. You have to put the politics aside and make the game about the game. Make it about basketball. I promise you. If you make it about the game would carry itself. I agree with her with the Kathy, but she also stated they made it through 2016, 2020 to get to 24. Nneka, we have to keep it a grand. The reason you made it through that is because you're being subsidized, okay, by the NBA. So you can't take full credit on making it through those situations without giving the NBA some credit. Like, I don't drug this video way longer than it need to be, man. But, yeah, clean up the act. Do better next season, okay? Do better next season. And let's see where it goes from there, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all this. I love y'all. Y'all keep it smooth.